I'm Isaac Newton. I'm the inventor of the three laws of motion. Nowadays, most people don't recognize my three laws in everyday life. They don't know that physics actually has an impact on everyday life. Physics isn't just something learned in a classroom, It's something applied to things every day. So, because of this, whenever I see an example of one of my laws in action and no one notices it, I'm going to appear to them and describe how my law applies. I'm calling my adventure physics. It's not just for the classroom. Before we begin our adventure, let's review my laws, shall we? My first law, the law of inertia, states that an object in motion tends to stay in motion unless an external force acts upon it. Similarly, if the object is at rest, it will remain at rest unless an unbalanced force acts upon it. My second law, the law of force and acceleration, states that when a force acts on an object, it will cause the object to accelerate. The larger the mass of the object, the greater the force will need to be to cause it to accelerate. And finally, my third law, the law of action and reaction, states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, well, after that review, let's take a look at the life of Grace and her family and see if we see any of my laws in action.
Morning, sis.
Morning, Dad.
How'd you sleep?
I slept good. How about you?
Yep, me too. Hey, you got breakfast taken care of?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll get lunch.
Oops, Dad, I got jam on the tablecloth.
It's okay, though. We can wash it.
Actually, you don't have to wait. I'll take care of that now. Ready? Watch.
Whoa, that was amazing.
Halt! In the name of learning!
Isaac Newton, what the heck are you doing here? You're like 4 centuries late.
I would tell you why I am here, but it's a long story, and quite frankly, I haven't got the time. You just exhibited my first law of motion.
What? How?
Well, the plate and jar on the table were at rest the whole time. It may have looked like they were moving, but they were staying still, really. In a way, it is just an illusion. No force has acted on these dishes to make them move. The tablecloth is just being yanked fast enough to make it look as if a force has acted on the dishes. That's why it's an example of my first law that states an object at rest will stay at rest until acted upon by another force, because the dishes were really at rest the whole time.
That was weird. Alex, you need to be more careful. You almost just knocked down my chewy dominoes. I'm sorry. Here, be careful. Yeah. Alex!
Halt! In the name of science!
What? Isaac Newton, what law did we exhibit this time?
You just exhibited my second law of motion. The bigger car has a larger mass than the small car. They both have the same amount of force applied, but the mass of the big truck is more than that of the small truck. This means that the bigger car will have a greater acceleration. That is why the bigger car knocked over the dominoes and the small car did not. That is why it is an example of my second law, which states the acceleration of an object depends on the net force acting on the object and the mass of the object.
Hey, I'm back from the store. I got the groceries we needed for the party.
Oh, awesome.
People should start getting here about 3.
Okay.
So we gotta be ready. I pulled out some of the supplies we needed, but before, can you pull up the balloons that I pulled out?
Yeah, I can. Did you get those cheeses I asked for?
No, but I did get your favorite chocolate.
Oops, sorry.
Halt! For the sake of physics!
Mr. Newton, what are you doing here?
Hi kids, I would love to talk, but I am on an important mission. You just exhibited my third law of motion. When the balloon was released, it expelled oxygen. The oxygen coming from the balloon pushed against the air, which caused it to propel forward. Because of this, it exhibits my third law, which states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Mr. Newton, always up to his shenanigans. is.
After spending an entire day watching over Grace and her family, I found many examples of my laws that people don't even realize were there. I hope that after all of this, Grace and her family, and you of course, have learned something about my laws of motion. I also hope they weren't too startled when I appeared out of nowhere. Grace, if you're watching, tell your brother I'm sorry for scaring the bejeebers out of him on multiple occasions. Anywho, I hope after our adventure you were able to see how many laws really do affect everyday life. Now, you need to go home and identify ways that my laws affect your life. Thanks for joining me on Physics. It's not just for the classroom. Signing off, Sir Isaac Newton.
Whoa, that was amazing.
Dragon. You just exhibited my first law of motion.